If held accountable for what they say on their tracks, more than half the rappers across the planet would end up in prison. From dealing drugs to bringing guns to street fights, rappers have made it obvious that the connection between rap music and crime is necessary to become a successful rapper. However, you might be surprised to know that many rappers that talk about these things have never actually been involved in any of those activities and only talk about it because it sounds cool. But hey, all the fake gangsters, we bring you the ones who have actually spent time in prison for serious felonies. Here are the top 10 famous rappers that have spent time in prison. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notified every time we make a new upload. Number 10. Lil Wayne. On July 22, 2007, Lil Wayne played his first headlining show at the Bacon Theater in New York City and decided to celebrate like many rappers claim they do. Party time. Lil Wayne and another man were caught smoking weed next to his tour bus while he had illegal possession of a weapon that was registered to his manager. In October 2009, Wayne pleaded guilty to attempted criminal possession of a weapon and was expected to serve a year in prison for his crime. He served his time at the infamous Rikers Island, where he would later be released after 8 months. So the next time you hear Wayne rapping about guns and drugs, take that man seriously. Number 9. Gucci Mane. In May of 2005, Gucci Mane was attacked by a group of men in Decatur, Georgia, and his crew didn't take the aggression kindly. Guns were drawn. The body of Pookie Loke, one of Gucci's attackers, was later found behind a nearby middle school. To his credit, Gucci Mane turned himself in, claiming he shot in self-defense. Eventually, Gucci got off free when county prosecutors dropped the case for lack of sufficient evidence. However, in 2013, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison after pleading guilty to a charge of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon after reaching an agreement with prosecutors. The judge also sentenced him to serve 3 years of supervised release with extra limitations on his travel during that time and to pay a $5,000 fine. Number 8. Cassidy. In April 2005, rapper Cassidy and 2 of his friends, while in possession of weapons, got into an argument with 3 unarmed men, and things turned violent fast. Desmond Hawkins, one of the 3 men who angered Cassidy's posse that night, was fatally shot in the back. His 2 friends ended up in the hospital. Cassidy's crew ended up in court. While the case looked pretty open and shut to start, a series of holdups on behalf of the prosecution resulted in the trial consistently moving in Cassidy's favor. Original charges of first-degree murder were downgraded when the prosecutor's primary witness withdrew testimony, and Cassidy was charged with third-degree murder. Eventually, he was sentenced for involuntary manslaughter, a crime he would only serve 8 months for. If you run into Cassidy in the streets of North Philly, don't piss him off. Number 7. Tupac Shakur. While Tupac is widely considered one of the greatest rappers of all time and largely acclaimed for his socially progressive lyrics on many tracks, he was convicted in 1995 of the ugliest of offenses. He and several members of his crew were charged with sexual assault when a 19-year-old woman claimed that Shakur and his crew entered her hotel room and raped her. Pac maintained his innocence, but a judge thought otherwise. In December of 1994, Tupac was convicted of sexual abuse and served 4 months in prison with 5 years of probation to be completed upon his release. Critics of gangster rap pointed to the trial as evidence that the music's violent lyrics led to real crime. Fans of Pac believe the rapper was innocent. In either case, Shakur's legendary career is tainted by jail time and ugly charges. Number 6. Fat Joe. In 1998, Fat Joe was arrested for alleged assault and robbery. He and his fellow rapper Big Pun were accused of beating a man with a baseball bat and stealing his gold necklace. Later, in 2002, Fat Joe was slapped with another assault charge for allegedly getting into a fight at B.B. King's Blues Club in New York City. Neither charges stuck though, nor Fat Joe ever saw a minute of prison time for another decade. Fat Joe surprisingly made his first guilty plea in December of 2012, when the rapper came up short by about $3 million in his income tax payments between 2007 and 2010 and spent only 4 months in prison. Number 5. Chief Keef. Chief Keef spent time in prison at home with his grandmother while he was 16 for an altercation with the police, all thanks to juvenile sentencing. However, as he reached adulthood, Chief Keef continued his criminal ways. In 2013, the rapper spent 60 days in jail for a parole violation. In January 2017, he was arrested for allegedly beating up and robbing a music producer. Chief Keef was arrested in South Dakota for smoking cannabis and possession of drug paraphernalia in 2017. He was able to make bail and took the charges to trial. In April 2019, he pleaded no contest and was given a suspended sentence. So if you ever wondered what happened to this rapper, well, looks like he can't stay away from trouble. Number 4. Lil Kim. In 2001, Lil Kim and her entourage had a run-in with another rap act, Capone and Noriega, outside of a popular New York City radio station. Shots were fired, though Kim was never charged for being involved. Instead, she was found guilty in 2005 of lying to a federal grand jury. When called to the stand to divulge her involvement with the Capone and Noriega incident, Kim claimed that 2 of her close friends who had been with her at the scene were not there. Apparently, her 2 entourage members didn't get the memo and confessed to being involved. This put Kim out on a lurch and eventually led to her conviction. She was sentenced to a year-long prison sentence. Remember, kids, never lie to a grand jury, especially if you have 2 friends who aren't smart enough to play along. Number 3. Meek Mill. While Meek Mill has been rapping since 2003, he has only gained some larger notoriety and fame since 2008, the same year he was first convicted of drug dealing and gun charges. The MC served 6 months in prison and a long probation due to the charges. Despite being on probation, Meek Mill hasn't been on his best behavior. He even received probably one of the most amusing sentences in the history of rap music. While on probation, he had to travel for music shows, and he never informed his probation officer. On top of that, in court, he was so disrespectful to the judge that sentenced him to an amusing punishment. The young rapper was forced to take etiquette classes to improve his manners and shape up in general. Number 2. T.I. In 2007, while on his way to the BET Awards, where he would win 2 recognitions, T.I. was arrested for illegal gun possession. While at the time, T.I. wasn't carrying a pistol or shotgun, the rapper planned on rolling up to the BET Awards with 3 machine guns and 2 silencers. Several more machine guns with a large amount of ammunition were later found at his home. T.I. went to serve a year-long sentence, beginning in 2009, based on his outlandish gun charges. But the rapper's trouble with the law wouldn't stop there. In 2009, T.I. was sent back to prison for an 11-month sentence after he violated his probation by possessing the drug ecstasy. It's easy to imagine that, had he not spent so much time in prison, T.I. could have enjoyed an even more prodigious career. But as they say, give a rapper a machine gun and he will want another. Number 1. Bobby Shmurda. Born in 1994, Bobby Shmurda was once best known for his famous 2014 club banger and a very unusual dance. Go ahead, Google the Shamoney dance. However, there is a long list of charges that landed him in prison. On September 2, 2016, as part of a plea deal, he pleaded guilty to 1 count of third-degree conspiracy and 1 count of weapons possession. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison. He cannot appeal the sentence, but will be given credit for 2 years served, leaving 5 years left on his sentence, followed by 5 years of probation. His lawyer expects that with good behavior, Pollard will only serve approximately 3.5 years. In early 2017, Pollard was given a 4-year sentence for sneaking a prison shank into his cell. The sentence will run concurrently to his ongoing 7-year sentence, meaning he will not face any additional prison time. And there you have it, 10 famous rappers that spent time in prison. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more future videos like this one. Till next time.